winning.
Pick
Weekly.
Smith for the win.
Raisi K.
Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Winning Picks Weekly. This is the college football episode, week 10, double-digit weeks. It feels like really nothing crazy happened in week 9, even though Oklahoma went down because they're going to be in the chip anyway. A couple of fun things happened for me in the Fun Belt, but not really pertinent. Oregon smacked Utah. Penn State beat Indiana. Oregon State lost. That's kind of redemption for this podcast, maybe for me a little bit. Talking with you guys about Oregon State, but you know I don't need to gloat about that. Anything crazy happened for you guys? Notre Dame killed Pitt. We all expected it, but the tight end went down, so I'm officially worried about them, even in bowl season now. Well, I don't think Hartman will play anyway, so I think I'm just off Notre Dame for the rest of the season now. It's over. It's over for my Hartman. Me and Hartman, Notre Dame. I think that's the only thing that really came for me from this weekend.
Yeah, I think Ohio State
Penn
kind
State.
of.
I was just going to say Penn State embarrassed themselves against Indiana. But that was really my biggest takeaway from this weekend was that Penn State embarrassed themselves. And Ohio State, too. You're right.
Ohio State just didn't, again, like I was saying, McCord just doesn't look sharp. Again, now it's 2 weeks in a row, starting to worry me. Utah, did the Braves stand? Went to USC 2 weeks ago, beat them like John said, and then was at home against Oregon, got absolutely demolished.
Like John said.
By
Oregon. I've been good on the Pac-12 this year. I've been killing the Pac-12. I'm going to miss the Pac-12 so much.
Yeah, I think that's
over
a
now.
little bit. I've been a big Kentucky, Kansas fans. Kansas looked great last week. Kentucky looked good too. So I mean, just good to try to ride these teams. One game we'll talk about when we get to the actual schedule because I want to know what you guys thought because you guys both had this team last week and they absolutely puked all over themselves. And now I think I'm picking them this week, so I want to know what you guys got on a scouting report.
All right.
Oh, my boy Stanford. I'm riding with Stanford. They're my guys now. Like that was plus 26 was so easy against Washington.
So easy.
Like big time spreads they're getting, and they're keeping these games within 10 or 12 points. So they're getting 20 something every time. So,
all right, let's start it off. Do you guys have any games for Thursday night?
Thursday? What are you talking about?
Oh, John, Tuesday.
Are we doing every day here? All right, let's start with Tuesday. We're recording early this week.
Maction. Maction's back on Halloween, man. Greg,
right,
you want to go first? Go first.
Trick or treating's coming out Tuesday night. Toledo minus 15.5 against Buffalo. Toledo's good. Buffalo's bad.
That's spooky as hell.
It's a spooky spread. It's a spooky spread to lay 15.5 on a Tuesday night. But you're at home. You're 4-0 in the MAC. You're 7-1 in the season if you're Toledo. You're putting up points. The over-under's 52. It's one of the higher Maction, over-unders for the week. So, a lot of them are in the 30s. So there's going to be some points here. Toledo, I think, is going to do pretty well against Buffalo here. Give me Toledo at home minus 15.5 on a spooky, spooky Tuesday night.
Okay, I'm against you on that one.
Okay.
I didn't think you were going to take, there was any way you were going to take 15.5 on Max. I'm taking Buffalo plus 15.5. Buffalo 4-0 against the spread on the road this year. 5-1-1 in their last 7 as a road underdog. I got Buffalo plus 15.5. The minus 15. I mean, Toledo hasn't been great as a home favorite this year, and I don't see them covering that giant number. And you're right, Toledo's definitely better than Buffalo. They'll win the game, but that's big. And again, it's Maction. Weird stuff happens.
Sure.
I don't know. Do you have Central Michigan? Anything on that game, Greg? Northern Illinois, Central Michigan?
No, I was leaning Northern Illinois, but I ended up staying away from it just because 5.5 just seems like a weird number.
Okay. I took Central Michigan plus 5.5. Central Michigan is 6-1 against the spread. coming off a bye with Jim McElwain as the head coach in his tenure. I think going back to 2019. So I like them coming off the bye. And I thought about the over. Don't think I'm going to do it. Actually, no, I changed my mind. I'm going to do it.
Over
So Central Michigan plus 5.5 and an over.
An
I love that.
over on Halloween Tuesday night action. I mean,
Yep.
you're writing your own grave here when you start getting mad about how it missed. I'm not gonna feel any sympathy for you there. That screams.
I don't.
under
I
to
mean,
me. It screams under to me. It just screams under to me.
I don't take
Anyway.
under during action, dude. That's lame.
That's all action is. Action is an under. All right. What are we doing on Wednesday, boys?
What do you got, Greg?
I got Bowling Green minus 5.5. I believe that's a Wednesday game. It's tough. I think Chip talked about at 1.2 about like some of these teams that mean more to us than others. Ball State is one of those teams for me. A few years ago when I really started betting, really started gambling, Ball State was hot 5-6 years ago. I hate that I'm going up against them here, but I don't know. I just think I'm liking these MAC home teams. It's a 2-6 versus a 4-4. These guys aren't very good, but it's 5.5 points. Bowling Green, I think, is a little bit better than Ball State. Ball State hasn't really showed me anything all season. So, yeah, give me Bowling Green at home on Wednesday night.
That's hilarious. It's the exact same opposite for me with Bowling Green. I love Bowling Green. It's one of those weird teams that I've bet on since I started gambling, and I'm going against them on this one, and I feel bad about it like you do with Ball State. For some reason, I got into like looking how these teams are off a bye this season.
Okay.
And like for some bizarre reason, Scott Loeffler has been the coach at Bowling Green since 2019. They've never covered off a bye. They're 0-6 against the spread off a bye. That's just weird to me. I don't know. So I'm taking Ball State +6. Also, a lot of money was on Bowling Green. I don't know why a lot of money would be on Bowling Green. I get that they're at home. Ball State's played bad, but they're still Bowling Green. I don't think a lot of money should be on them. So Ball State +6 on that one.
I don't think a lot of money should be on any part of this game. but yeah, I mean, what's worse, that or Akron versus Kent State? I mean, to be honest with you, all four of these teams, all I do is fade them. So I don't know what to do in these games. Like, honestly, if I'm taking them, I'll take the under. Like, 40.5 is juicy for Akron versus Kent State for me. Like, I'm not touching any of these games. I'm watching NBA. Get on me on the NBA side.
Beware of totals.
Tuesday, Wednesday here.
Beware of totals in Akron games. I said beware of totals in Akron games. They go to overtime and stuff, and they have weird finishes. I'm taking Akron though in that one.
Don't
Akron
worry.
-3.
Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere near it. I'm not going anywhere near these games. All right.
That's what you're not betting any of the action games?
I don't know. I'm just gonna stay with the NBA. These two games are these two matchups are tough. I'm just gonna stay away right now. NFL, I'm finally turning it around. Things are finally starting to make sense to me. The board is getting clearer. I'm starting to pick my bullets here for college. You're wearing your Oregon shirt. I love to see it. Nobody cares about my futures, but they're finally coming into fruition here. So I'm just trying to tread lightly here. Last couple of weeks, but Thursday, I'm here for it, and I'm gonna be Johnny Public here, and I'm gonna ride with TCU. Everyone's all over them. +2.5 line makes no sense. Why are they getting points versus Texas Tech? Texas Tech stinks. TCU has been getting better as the season goes on. Makes no sense. So it's probably the worst bet of the whole day, but I'm going with TCU. They got absolutely railroaded by Kansas State last game, and I think this is the bounce back. So give me TCU. You guys touching that game?
I'm staying away from everything on Thursday, but I was looking at this game for a while, and finally I just said Thursday night I can just stick to NFL because I was really racking my head around this one. Like TCU, up until last week, I probably would have bet TCU. I hate Texas Tech. Then all of a sudden TCU looked so bad last week. They were at Kansas State. Now they have to go at Texas Tech, like back-to-back road games. I ended up, like I said, just staying away, but
I like the over, but it jumped from 50.5 at open. Now it's at 59.5. It looks like it's sitting at right now. Some places it's even up to 60 already. If I might maybe take the over if I'm feeling a little frisky here, but I'm just gonna stick with TCU. They have to make a comeback here to really put their stamp to get a nice bowl game, honestly, and it matters to programs like TCU. So and that's what these games are about right now. Week 10, week 11, week 12. It starts to get into what games matter for what programs. I think TCU has to show up here. 31-3 is so bad to Kansas State, dude. How can you sleep at night with that?
Kansas State's really good.
I know, but come on, just a field goal.
Talk about futures. 4-1 in the Big 12.
Let's
Stupidly slept on Kansas State. That was one of my biggest mistakes, sleeping on Kansas State preseason.
What about Duke Wake Forest, Chip? You looking at that at all? I mean, I watched some Wake Forest last week because I think they played Florida State.
Mhm.
So I was watching that slow mesh against Florida State, and I mean, they just couldn't do nothing.
Great Jersey
Duke,
game.
I'm staying away. Yeah, staying away from Duke because they're weird to me right now. Their defense didn't play well last week.
Nope.
I don't know. 12.5 is a lot. Riley Leonard looks bad. I don't know if he's hurt or if he's just not playing well or both. That's a lot. I know Wake's bad, but 12.5 is a lot of points. Duke doesn't look good, so I'm staying away from that.
I was thinking about the under. Like you said, Duke's defense doesn't look too good, but they held Louisville to 20 something points. Total's 45 here. If I'm betting anything, I was looking at the under in that game. I feel like that's a little high for both these teams because I haven't seen much in the offense from either of these programs in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Under would probably be what I would do if I was going to bet that game. I was thinking about the under in the TCU Texas Tech game too, but I also don't know that much about Texas Tech. I haven't watched them very much. I just know they've been monumentally disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this Duke line opened at -7 at 10 a.m. and then at 3 p.m. it became 12.5. Anyone explain that? And it looks like there's a lot of money on a huge Duke, and then they moved it that much, which is interesting. I think Duke is going to roll in this game. I think Wake had a great game versus Florida State. Perfect for college. They're versing the best team, and then after that, they fall on the ground at Duke, which Riley Leonard first game back didn't look great. Second game back at home, he's gonna roll. I love first half Duke -6.5. 12.5 is a lot. I kind of want that to come down a little bit. So we'll see. 12.5 is a lot. Hoping maybe to get that catch. If it opened at 7, jump to 12.5, can I catch it at 10? I'll take it even like at a bad football number, but like 12.5 is tough. So
we're recording this on Monday. I'll wait for the Duke. For the Duke line.
But I like Duke though. I like Duke first half -6.5. I'm sticking with that for sure. You guys touching South Alabama, Troy?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
All right. Any features on South Alabama, Troy? I just need Troy here. I basically have Troy, so we're good.
Oh yeah, you have Troy. Yeah.
Let Troy win. I don't need to touch this game. It's disgusting enough. All right. Friday Night Lights. Boston College at Syracuse. Thank God you don't have Tommy DeVito anymore. We saw him at Jet Life. Didn't look too good. Are you touching this game? This is a chip game. I'm gonna be shocked if you don't have anything on BC versus Cuse.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but I am.
Here we go.
I am taking Cuse -2.5.
-3.
Cuse is rarely ever a home favorite in the Dino Babers era. They haven't been home favorites a lot, obviously. They've covered in 7 of their last 9 as a home favorite because typically when they're a home favorite, they're not favored against a very good team. And Boston College isn't very good. So they've looked bad recently. They should win this game. This is a must-win game. They are reeling right now. And not making a bowl game would be, tough. Cuse is a basketball school. It always will be a basketball school. At minimum, you have to make a bowl game. If they miss a bowl game, that's the thing that's going to get Dino Babers fired. You know what? I will say this. If they lose to Boston College at home as a favorite, I could see Dino Babers getting fired after that game if they get embarrassed again. So I think this is must win for bowl eligibility.
But for both teams,
maybe to keep Dino Babers' job. Yeah, for both teams. This is a big one for Boston College too, because that coach is on the hot seat a little bit too. So this is a big game for 2 fledgling programs.
Yeah, I mean, Boston College's schedule does not get much easier. Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, and Miami. They need
Tech
2 wins to be bowl
whooped
eligible.
Cuse, dude. They're way better than Q's and BC. They whooped Q's.
Yeah,
Q's
I got the
Q's
under.
schedule. They got Pitt,
Q's
Georgia
plays
Tech, Wake
Pitt,
Forest. Yeah.
It's tough.
Well, Q's plays Pitt at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Greg, what do you think?
If Q's
Under
goes
50
to
in
Yankee
this
Stadium
one.
and loses, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good. I think Chip said it perfectly. I don't think either of those teams are very good. Syracuse has lost 3 in a row, 4 in a row now by a lot to not very good teams. And Boston College, I mean, they had, I think, one maybe impressive game this season. But other than that,
Red
nothing too
bandana
great.
game.
Yeah, yep. Other than that, though, I haven't seen too much that really gets me going. So under 51, I was like Colorado State plus 7 at Wyoming. It's kind of one of those, Friday 8:00, throw something on because I'll be watching sports anyway, kind of games. And I feel like Colorado State's kind of playing up and down a little bit. And I just haven't seen too much from Wyoming. Like, Wyoming has popped up on my radar 2 or 3 times this season. And they've been
What's wrong with-
good. They've been winning. I just don't know how good they've been doing against the spread. I feel like Colorado State kind of impressed me a little bit covering the spread against UNLV 2 weeks ago. Last week, tough game against Air Force. I think Air Force's just offense is better than Wyoming. So I think it's going to be close. I think 7 points is just too many for Colorado State, Wyoming. I just don't think there's a touchdown difference between these two teams.
Man, I really, really beg to differ here, Greg.
Okay.
First of all, Wyoming is not only 5-2 straight up, they're 4-2-1 against the spread. And one of those covers is against Texas when they were hot in September. But you're talking about lately. You said you haven't seen anything from Wyoming lately. Not only did they cover Air Force, but they had a really good game against Air Force last week. They could have beat them. If you were watching that game, they beat Fresno State as dogs. They beat New Mexico. I don't know if they covered that game though, but they were like they were like 14.5 or something. Beat Appalachian State. I'm looking at it right now. Lost to Texas. Beat Portland State. Beat Texas Tech. I mean, as plus 14. Beat Texas. That was week 1 or week 0, whatever. That was ages ago.
Yeah, and that's the only time I've really seen them. I watched them against Texas Tech. I watched them against Texas, and then I haven't seen them in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So they could be playing good. They could be playing bad. It just
they look really good against Air Force last week.
Yeah,
I actually really like Wyoming
2 weeks
here.
Ago, yeah.
I actually really like Wyoming.
Oh,
I'm taking them -7. It's nice, and I'm taking them first half. All right, jumping into Saturday. Chip, why don't you start us off here with the noon Saturday slate? It's week 10. There's big games on and big spreads. Honestly, for me, I don't love so many games. So let me know, let the people know, what do you got going at 12, Chip?
Notre Dame -3. I saw the money on Clemson. No, you don't like that one, John?
I'm scared of Notre Dame now that the tight end went down, right? He was like 3rd in all of FBS in receiving yards and touchdowns. Now I'm supposed to trust Notre Dame. How much do they care about this game? Dabo Swinney and Clemson just lost. Now they're at home. They need to win this game more than anything on earth. Like, I don't know. Will Shipley is going to run all over Notre Dame and beat them? You're going to be shocked by that?
I would be shocked by that, yes. Given how helpless Clemson has looked recently. I would be shocked if they ran all over Notre Dame. They have looked pathetic, Clemson.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't think this is not the Clemson
I like
team
Notre
we're
Dame.
used to. I love Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame -3 at Clemson. I think Dabo, man, I'm not going to go as far as to say it's over for good, but they need a complete overhaul there.
yeah. I mean,
they haven't been home underdogs since for 5 years or something. I read it's crazy how long it's been.
Well, yeah, I mean, Notre Dame's my first best bet of the day, John. I'm willing to say it. I think Clemson's dead. I think the program's dead. I think Dabo Swinney's dead. They haven't had anyone talented in the building in 3 or 4 years. Like where are the recruiting classes? Like, where did everyone go? Like, after Etienne and Lawrence leave, there's just nobody. Like, they went on a good run from Watson to Lawrence, where they had stud receivers, they had stud running backs, they had tremendous defensive players, and there's just now it's been 2 or 3 years now of just absolutely nothing. Notre Dame -2.5. I think this is too easy. That's the only thing that makes me nervous. Clemson does not make me nervous. I mean, back-to-back losses on the road last week to NC State. I mean, the program's in shambles. They're going to get bowl eligible here because they have like Georgia Tech and then a couple other soft teams at the end of the slate here for Clemson, but Notre Dame's not one of them. First best bet of the day: Notre Dame -2.5, -3, -4, whatever you want to give me.
All right, what else do you got going here at New and Greg?
So the team that I want to talk to you guys about, because you guys I think were both big on the Gators last week, and then they got absolutely steamrolled by Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I love Florida. -6 at home, bouncing back after Ohio or the Georgia game last week, playing Arkansas, who was 2-6, 0-5 in the SEC, just absolutely terrible. I feel like this line at -6 is just begging you to take Florida. And I feel like part of it is because of a little bit of an overreaction to the Georgia game last week. But hand up, I didn't really watch that game. I was watching other games at noon or whatever they played last week. So am I taking the cheese here, going Florida -6? Is Florida just as bad as Arkansas? Is Arkansas better than I think? Like, what do you guys think here?
Arkansas is definitely not better
as bad as Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think we're on the same page there. Hey, honestly, Greg, like my stupid football brain would say, "Oh, Florida had a bye week. They were supposed to kill last week at home at the Swamp versus a big foe to change their whole dynamic, change the whole season, change the whole narrative around. Didn't do it. Now they're at home with that spread. Like, what are we talking about?" But my gambling brain says this is the perfect spot for Florida. They folded. Now they have to come back. No bye week. They got to turn it around right away in the Swamp. Are they going to come back? So Arkansas stinks. I'm with you on Florida, actually. I like that. I'm going to add that to my card.
Yeah, I mean, Florida stinks, but I mean, their last 5 losses were at LSU, home against A&M, at Ole Miss, at Alabama. Like, those are tough games. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, home against Mississippi State, they lost 7-3. So that's the one that stood out to me. Like, oh, maybe Arkansas is as bad as I think Arkansas is. Like, if you're losing to Mississippi State 7-3, you don't really have too much going on. So
A&M is bad too.
That was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. That Mississippi State loss. They quit. Arkansas quit. They're done. They fired their offensive coordinator.
Not word. Yeah.
All right, so Greg, am I here to assume that in the Big 12 matchup of the day, you have Kansas State over Texas?
I don't, just because I have Kansas State futures at like +500. So I'm not taking anything in this game. I'm not doubling down. If I would, obviously, I'd be taking Kansas State +4. Texas, I was all over the under last week. They played pretty good. Like, I watched some of that game because, like I said, I had the under. BYU just they made it an easy bet for me. They're putting up 6 points. I mean, Texas was still able to score 35 points. Murphy was still pretty good. I think they relied on the run a little bit more than they had in the past, but that's to be expected. Defense looked good. Special teams looked good for Texas. So I'm nervous as a Kansas State future ticket holder. 4-1 in the conference, going up against 4-1 in the conference. They could tie it up right here. They could both be 7-2 after this game if Kansas State gets the win on the road. Like I said, they look really good in a tune-up game the last 2 weeks. TCU 2 weeks ago, and then Houston last week. I was all over that. That was an all-time easy bet. Houston stinks. So to win 41-0, these guys are playing as good as they've ever played. So the offense, I feel like, is more powerful for Kansas State earlier in the season. I feel like they're getting it done in different ways now. They're not throwing it, I guess, as much as I would say. So Howard, I feel like, has kind of taken a little bit of a step back, but it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. Very excited about this game.
All right. Chip.
I have the under in that one. It's 51.5. Texas' last 11 home games, 9 of them have gone to the under. So I like the under in this one. I agree with Greg there. With K-State, their offense hasn't been as good lately. And I think Texas just, a lot of times they're expected to score just a bunch of points and play shootouts, and they just don't typically live up to that number. So, and now they have the backup quarterback playing too. I like the under her.
All right. I'm not touching that game. I need Texas to make it to that championship game. So Greg, sorry about that, but Texas is in my future, so we'll see what goes on there. I'm not going to touch it though. I'm just going to kind of let that one ride. Don't really love the line either. But that's about it for the noon games for me. I don't want to touch Jacksonville State versus South Carolina because, first of all, I need South Carolina to kill Jacksonville State, but 14.5 is a lot. Like, I'm wondering if that's because of the conference stuff, right? Is South Carolina good enough to be 14.5 against anyone? Jacksonville State is 6-2-1 against the spread. They are second in Conference USA. I need Western Kentucky to get up there and play Liberty in that championship game, just so because that's both of my futures all over the place are Liberty and Western Kentucky for that conference. So I need them both to be in there, so I just can't lose, and I'll have some parlays that'll keep rolling. So I need Jacksonville State right now to lose South Carolina, but 14.5 seems crazy. So don't want to take that. Don't want to touch Wisconsin, Indiana, because that game's absolutely disgusting. Would touch the under. Are you taking that, Chip?
Oh, I have the under in that one. Yeah.
Okay, I had that.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have anything else for 12 before we move on to mid-afternoon?
I agree with you. Jacksonville State, I'm not taking. Feels like they're begging you to take Jacksonville State. I have plus 16 here, so I'm passing on that. I have Texas A&M plus 3 against Ole Miss. Feels like classic look-ahead game. Ole Miss has Georgia next week, so I think they could actually lose that one straight up. And my entire everything in me is telling me Texas A&M on the road, don't take it because you hate Jimbo, and that's just betting with your heart completely. So I'm like, okay, my head tells me don't do that. Take A&M. That's the smart play. So I'm going with A&M and probably going to take A&M money line too. This seems like a game that Ole Miss would lose, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually agree with that logic, to be honest with you. I didn't think about that, but I agree with that logic.
I didn't think about it at all. I love Ole Miss. I'm taking Ole Miss minus 3. I didn't realize they had Georgia next week, but dude, Texas A&M is so bad. They're as close to a bet against list as you possibly can get in my book.
Why is it 3 though, Greg? Why is it 3?
Because I think it's just an SEC game. I mean, put a little respect on Texas A&M. Like, they're not nobodies, but they just, yeah. Like I think it. I agree. I think it should be more like 7 or 8. Like 3 is a little scary for sure. Both these teams can score too. Like the over under is 53. So like, what are we looking at here? Like a 24-23 game. Like that's like, I don't know. I'm going Ole Miss minus 3 though. I think it's just don't think, just throw. Like Texas A&M's not good. Ole Miss is. And Nebraska. I was talking about Texas A&M being as close as I can get to a bet against list. Michigan State is on the bet against list for me. Like I have 3 weeks in a row now. Bet against them. I'm pretty sure they've covered. The other team has covered all 3 weeks. I'm a little nervous that it's Nebraska because I don't really like betting Nebraska. But I mean,
Nebraska was nice last week, dude.
Last week, I think we all jumped on the Minnesota train. I don't know too much about Minnesota, but that was a nice -7, and they won by 10 or 14. 2 weeks ago, it was Michigan. That was -35. They won by 40-something. I think it just keeps rolling. 3 weeks before that was Rutgers. So, yeah, like -3.5 is a small number at Michigan State. I just don't think it's very good. And you have to go on the road, which sucks, but I don't think Michigan State's like a crazy environment to play in.
Not right now, it's not.
Well,
They're dead right now. Talk about dead programs. No, okay, I'm telling you on Nebraska. I was concerned about the same because it's Nebraska, but Michigan State is on my don't bet list too. And I
Yep.
was a little worried nobody was going to be with me, but I'm taking Nebraska to add that to my card.
I feel like a college football season isn't complete until you at least have a little money on Nebraska and they lose in heartbreaking fashion. So I haven't done it all season. Let's give it a shot here on first weekend of November.
Man, if they lose to Michigan State straight up, we're going to be talking about that next week for sure.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
No
That'd be
embarrassing.
tough. You can't lose to Michigan State. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
All right, 3 p.m. This is a little bit of a heart bet again. Overs like I'm in over life right now for the next couple of weeks. Like this is it for me. So I've been staring in the American Athletic Conference. I've been staring at Memphis for a while because I need Tulane and UTSA to be on top there. So I've been staring at Memphis a lot this season. They are 2-4-1 against the spread. Not good. Last time I checked. This week they're going against South Florida. South Florida has been pretty good. I don't think they've had one game this entire year that wasn't close, including the Alabama game, which was like 17-3. Still close. Like they played good in every game. I can't believe the spread is so large. This game's like 13.5. That's insane. I think South Florida might actually win this game straight up. So I love 13.5. It's honestly one of my best bets of the day.
I like that. I'll follow your best bet with one of my best bets, and I've made amends. I've repented. 2 weeks ago, I started betting on Oklahoma State. Last week, I made it my best bet. And as soon as I did that, my guy Ollie Gordon the second just started going nuts. So the running back of Oklahoma State, he's figured it out. 200-something yards in both games, last two games. Really, it's just the offense has been going. I can't pick them straight up against Oklahoma, even though I want to. Just because I have some Oklahoma futures. So I'm going with the over. I think both these teams can score 63 points. It's Oklahoma State. I love the rivalry. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Oklahoma State's been putting up 40-something points a game the last few games. Oklahoma can do that in their sleep. Give me the over 63.
Okay.
That's my second best bet of the
last
day.
Bedlam game, man. The last Bedlam
The last
game.
one ever. Yeah. And I've been thinking
Maybe
about the
as
6.5.
long as
I've
Mike
been
Gundy's
staring
the
at
coach.
it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Over in that game. I'm taking that one too.
I like that. And then, Penn State for me. I'm riding them. The last 2 weeks have been ugly. Minus 10.5 here this week. I'm going back to the well. I thought they were going to get right against Indiana. It was one of the most disgusting games I've ever watched. I can't believe that I'm back betting them again. But Maryland, Chip, you talked me into it, or you talked me out of it, I guess, last week with Northwestern against Maryland. I mean, how do you lose to Northwestern? It's insane, but Maryland figured out a way to do it. Now you got to host Penn State, who's looked bad the last 2 weeks, and hopefully a get-right game for Penn State. Before they play Michigan. The only thing that scares me a little bit is maybe it's a little bit of a look ahead for Michigan next week, but I think it's a tune-up game for sure. Like, I think they get right. I think they dot their T's and cross their I's this week, and they win this game by 30. Give me Penn State minus 10.5.
All right, believer in Penn State has nothing to do with his background. And who am I to talk about bias? Because I'm about to spit out a couple games here again, more towards my futures, but also I've been watching them all season because they're my futures, right? So I've been paying attention to them, but there's a bias here. I need these teams to win. So it's UTSA, who is back from the dead. UTSA was dead, and they're back. All they got to do is beat North Texas here, and they are alive. I'm riding UTSA minus 6.5 touchdown. Give it to me. Coastal Carolina versus Old Dominion. Nobody cares about that game, but it is the Sun Belt East championship game of the day for them. Like, whoever loses is out, whoever wins is in. Like, they have a chance now to play, especially because James Madison again can't make it. And speaking of James Madison, minus 5.5, and this line makes no sense to me. I get that Georgia State is second, and right now they're technically on top, ready to be the top of the division. honestly, I think JMU is going to scrape them. I don't think this is going to be close. I honestly might alternate spread this just to be annoying about this game. I don't think this is going to be close. I think this is a 2-touchdown game, and I need it. So those three, I need all to go my way for my futures to have a smooth road to the end here with what would be 2 weeks left, right? Just 2-3 weeks left here, so
yeah.
be good.
To the Bulls. I'm with you. I was with JMU. I saw that. I was like, oh, that's spicy. Then I was like, oh, I don't know what John needs for this conference, so I'm gonna stay away. Now that I know you want JMU -5.5, like I'm thinking about making it a best bet. Like I love JMU this week, so
they're killers.
Yeah. And they're trying to play spoilers. Like they're angry. They're mad about this conference. It's 5.5 points. They are one of the better teams, in not the Power 5 teams in the country. I'm with you. And John, another team that you've been talking up all season, I'm riding with. Who did I have last week? I think against Cal. Go Oregon -23.5 is my
Hell yeah.
is
You had USC. USC played Cal last week, didn't they?
Yeah, USC, yes. And Cal kept it close.
First half.
They were on the ropes. I don't think they do it 2 weeks in a row. I don't think you give USC the game you give them now against Oregon. Like I think you have, if you're the Cal program, you have one of those games in your tank all season. You use it against USC. You almost got the win against USC. It would have been an all-time upset. But now big bad Oregon comes in here -23.5. I think they win this game by 35.
Big bad Oregon is right, baby. I need them to keep rolling. I'm with you. I don't care. I need Oregon. No messing around there.
Yep.
Chip, what do you got? What do you got going in the afternoon?
Well, I got Air Force -18.5 against Army.
Need Air Force.
I love Air Force after last week, especially after last week. I'm sure it's an outside shot, but New Year's Six Bowl for Air Force would be awesome. I think they're one of the best offenses in the country. I think they can definitely make it there. I got that. FSU -22 against Pitt. You talk about dead. Pat Narduzzi may have just killed himself at Pitt, trashing his own team. I think they don't want to play for their coach after all that crap. I think FSU needs to bury someone. And Pitt is so bad. I like FSU -22.
Add to my card.
Yeah. And Iowa Northwestern at Wrigley Field under 31. Opened up at 29, lowest point total in college football history. It's at 31 now. I think that game is definitely going to go under. It's 5. Iowa's favored by 5. Maybe Northwestern money line leaning there. I really like Northwestern, especially after last week. But just saw online Brian Ferentz probably not coming back next year as Iowa's offensive coordinator. So that may give a little bit of motivation to the Iowa team to win that one. But I'm definitely sticking with the under because he's still the offensive coordinator for this season. So they're not going to score a lot of points now.
Yeah, I was thinking about taking Iowa in that one because I wonder if it's like the win one for Brian thing. Like you said, he's not coming back, but he's still here now. Let's go out there and get it, boys. In a barn burner 14-7 game. This is going to be. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be disgusting.
But it's the lowest total in history.
It opened at 29, lowest total in history. It's up to 31. I don't think it reaches 31. Like no,
it's at 30.5 right now. I see.
Oh, okay. Well, it's on a baseball field too. Iowa on a baseball field, they won't throw the ball once.
Yeah, do you guys remember? Someone was talking about it today about the first time they played at Wrigley, where they screwed up the field and you could only play one way. I think it was 10 years ago. It was before I really started watching college football a ton. But if you look up pictures of it, I think there's pictures up there. I think there's a news segment about it, but they've obviously figured it out now. But at one point there was no. There was the end zone, but there was the wall for the baseball fence was right up against the back of the end zone, so you couldn't run out of the back of the end zone. So it's not safe. So they only played offense in one direction the whole game.
That's
so they've obviously figured it out. It's a very Big Ten thing to have happen, I feel like.
Yeah. That's what happened at MetLife yesterday, which was a Big Ten game. There was only offense going one way. Any field goals kicked this way, anytime any offenses were going towards my way, it was either a turnover, missed field goal. Nothing went my way. Punts only. Every score was toward the other end zone. So maybe that's just a thing, Greg. Maybe that's just a thing. All right. Last game here, I just need them to win. Again, it's just Tulane. I don't love the spread, though. It's just so many points, minus 16.5. ECU has not really been a team. East Carolina is usually pretty good. This year, they have not been a team at all. So I guess I would take that. I just need them to win. So just please win the game. You mentioned Oregon, and I'm throwing Liberty in there. I just need Liberty to win. Anything else before we jump to the sevens?
Nope.
Chip, why don't you start us off with the 7 p.m.s here?
Okay. I don't know if you guys looked at Kansas against Iowa State. Iowa State is favored by 2.5. Makes no sense to me after what just happened with Kansas. I'm taking Kansas money line in that one. Maybe it's weird because that seems ridiculous. I don't know. I know Iowa State's played better lately since they lost to Ohio. I don't know. I know Kansas is on the road. They're coming off a huge win. I like Kansas money line at 7:00 on at 7:00 on Saturday on the road against Iowa State.
Yeah, this is one where I'm going with the under 54. And it's because this game makes absolutely no sense. I mean, Iowa State has played pretty well. Iowa State sneaky, I think, is 4-1 in the Big 12. Like, they're in the Big 12 mix as much as anyone else is in the Big 12 mix. 5-3 on the season, so you need, you need a couple people to lose here and there. But you have Kansas still, you have Texas still, you still have Kansas State on the schedule. So you still have your 3 big games on the schedule. After losing to Oklahoma 50-20, they've rattled off 3 wins in a row. Granted, not very good teams, but TCU and Baylor in the conference. So they're playing well. And now you got your first ranked opponent in a while here at home, November 4th, 7:00, Kansas after a big-time win. Big letdown spot for them. They're college kids. They've been partying. They've been hanging out. Give me the under. I think it's going to be low scoring if Iowa State can stay in this, and the bookmakers think that Iowa State can stay in this. They're favoring them by 2.5 points. I think it just makes no sense. So give me the under in this one.
All right. I'm just gonna stick. I'm sticking with the same theme here, and I've been vindicated a little bit going against Oregon State last week. And I was maybe vindicated a little bit more, taking Colorado, maybe the easiest spread of the day last week versus UCLA. I've been pretty good on both those teams so far this year. Maybe a little bit more wrong with UCLA side because I kept going with my heart a little bit too much until I had to come back to life. Plus 13.5. Hopefully Sanders doesn't get kicked out of the game this week. That would be fantastic. Everybody's all over Oregon State, which makes me like it even more. The problem is Oregon State's a real team, right? I know. And Colorado has the tough linebackers, not the greatest line on both sides. I don't think Oregon State can do anything against Travis Hunter. And that's their game to just air it out. I honestly love 13.5. I'm gonna think about the money line a lot. Probably get them in a couple parlays. I love Colorado plus 13.5. I know that's at 10:00. I'm gonna give you a 9:00. I got Western Kentucky because I need them, but I'm not taking the spread. How about that? Are you guys touching LSU Alabama?
I'm out in Colorado. Absolutely. Alabama -3. My line in the sand for the SEC. It all comes down to this. Bama -3. They haven't looked great. They're still hanging around. This is going to be low scoring, even though the spread's 60. I love the under in this one. Quietly have just won game after game after game. Crushed Tennessee 2 weeks ago. You have the bye week to get ready. At home. I love Alabama so much. I was thinking about making a best bet, but Alabama -3 for me for sure.
Saban off a bye. Come on. Bama.
Versus LSU. At home, at night, Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, it's too easy for me. The other thing that's too easy too is Kentucky -4 against is it Ole Miss? No.
Mississippi State. They're trash.
Mississippi State. Yeah, terrible team. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks in a row. I feel like I'm just finding myself betting against Mississippi State without even knowing it. And Chip just always confirms that they're terrible, which I love. My third and final best bet. I've been all over Kansas and Kentucky. I'm riding them again. Give me Kentucky -4. in this one. And then my final bet in the 7 o'clock slate, I need someone to talk me out of this because I'm thinking about doubling down, throwing down 2-3 units here because this spread makes no sense. Washington minus 3.5 against USC.
It's 4.5 now. It should be 15.5.
Yeah. What am I
have
missing?
no idea what's happening. The over is 75.5 right now.
Washington hasn't looked like spectacular, and even though they've won, it's not like they've won pretty. Like they got lucky against
USC.
Stanford.
I've been
No,
watching
I know
USC.
USC's look terrible.
Dude, they beat
But if
Oregon.
they weren't. USC's USC. USC's getting money.
Washington had one bad game versus Arizona State, who honestly they've been playing pretty good against really good teams. They've just been keeping it close.
Didn't play well against Stanford. Washington play well against Stanford.
Yeah,
I think that, but it's 3.5 because it's USC, and because it's at USC, and that's why it's 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, dude, USC should have lost 3 games in a row. The fact that they won, they beat Cal by 1, is maybe what's making this not a double-digit spread. Like it to me, just makes no sense. Like I said, I think I'm going. If I'm having a good day on Saturday, I think I'm betting a lot on Alabama, Washington, Kentucky, and Kansas in the 7 o'clock slate here.
Yeah. So if I'm having a good day, I'm rolling, and my bets I've been hitting, especially my futures. I'm riding Georgia Southern over Texas State. I need that game more than anything. Georgia Southern. That's unquestionable. Not lying in the sand, Greg. This is a lava line. Like this is it. Like this is the line. I need Georgia Southern to beat Texas State here. So I'm all in. I need Washington, especially over USC, right? Because USC winning does nothing for me. Washington losing kind of stinks, right? They're gonna play Oregon anyway.
Yeah.
So just give me Washington here. They should. That's Greg. That's the only thing. Because we talk about motivation. USC could technically, they're not going to save their season, but theoretically, they will. If they beat Washington at home, undefeated, their season's going to completely bounce back. For Washington, it doesn't really matter. They're going to go to the conference championship anyway. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's the only trepidation that I see here. But if Washington comes ready to play, this is a double-digit win.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like 45-20. Like I think it's just not even gonna be close.
So you got the under.
Yeah, I guess technically
45-20 is the under by 2 scores.
5 points. No, 45-20. 65.
Yeah, it's 75.5.
Oh, 75. I think
it's
70.
75.5, bro. On a hook. You lost that by 10.5. You're not even close.
All right. Might be on the under. Late games though, real quick, and then I'll kick it to Chip because I know he's probably got a bunch here. You talked about Colorado, I'll take that. Add my boy Stanford. I'm riding with Stanford. Go. I love that Christmas tree getting me in the spirit, the holiday spirit. 13.5 points, 2 weeks in a row. Riding with Stanford, going back to it again.
Are you taking money line?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I just have to know. Okay. I mean, I love the 10 p.m.s, man. I'm all over the I can't remember a time in my life where I was ready to sit down on my couch, ready to go. I cannot wait for the 9 p.m., 10 p.m. games. I'm gonna watch Stanford. I'll add Stanford to my card just for you on the Pac-12 network there. Right, and then we got Western Kentucky, need them. Colorado, already talked about it. Fresno State, need them. -3.5. I don't have to look at the blue field of Boise State. Boise State stinks. Fresno State at home, I absolutely need them. And then UCLA, Arizona, 53.5. I'm taking the over. I love that game. I'm scared to take UCLA because Arizona's just been so good. I'm just taking the over and just watching. I really love that game. I just want to watch it. So I'm loving the 10 p.m.s. I'm going to be watching till 2 a.m. if Colorado does something crazy and brings it to overtime again, especially because they're 13.5 dogs. So that means if they're keeping it close towards the end, it's going to be close. I have to take Colorado money line. I mean, it feels so dumb if it's a 1-possession game and I'm watching it. I'd be like, dude, 13.5 was too easy. I need the plus 450. That's it. That's it for my card.
I think I might have to take Colorado too now that you're saying that. But I got 2 home dog money lines and then I'm done. You mentioned UCLA. I'm taking Arizona money line in that one. I like Arizona there. You said Arizona's been really good and they're only 3-point dogs. I like them. And we didn't talk about NC State against the U. NC State at home +4. I may take the +4, but I'm definitely taking the money line. So NC State money line and Arizona money line. I'm definitely taking those two.
I like that.
I like that too. Greg, why don't you finish off the episode here with your final bets? Or are you done?
That's it for me. I got Colorado.
All
I got
right.
Stanford in the late night. I might be at an Arizona UCLA if I'm up and watching.
All right. You'll be up. I'm going to keep you up because there's 5-6 games there that are going to be going nuts. And I mean, Greg has been on the trading cards.
Yep.
He's got, we got Dante Moore now. We got to sign Dante Moore.
We did.
We got to be up at 10 p.m., Greg.
Yep.
All right. That's about it for the Winning Picks Weekly Week 10 football episode. Catch Sunday's Comma, Jets Comma, ETC, period, YouTube. We got the Winning Picks Weekly, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Google Play. Hit us up. Means a lot. Like on our YouTube if you were watching. We had some viewers in here. Comment next time. Let us know what you got. Let us know what you think on these games. And we out. Can't wait for Ohio State, Michigan, Raisi. Let's go. We out.